What's up, everyone? This is Dr. Nii, host of Docs Outside the Box. You listening to episode 250. Thank you for tuning in. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the co-most, Dr. Renee. What's up? How you doing?
What's up? Dr. Renee in the house.
I see you learned your lesson and you stopped that rapping garbage that you did on the last episode.
My name's Dr. Renee, and I'm here to say I'm here to rock the bike in the pod day. Get it? Pod day. Pod, like, because we podcast in pod day. I don't think you got that the last time. You were kind of slow to get that. But, you know, we can't all be lyricists, Nee.
You done?
And
hopefully.
No, okay, I'm done.
We about to ask the editor to edit this out because but everyone, welcome to another episode. We're really excited. So listen, you may hear my voice start to quiver. I'm still getting over some post-nasal drip allergies. I don't know what it is, but my voice quivers after a couple of minutes. And as a result, I have to take lozenges and so forth. So just forgive me, guys, but I'm going to keep putting out content and we're going to still keep recording. But I just want to keep it 100 with you. For some reason, my voice just kind of, anytime I feel like there's water that's in the, well, anyway, y'all to get what I'm saying. It just ain't happening too much today. So listen, let's jump right into this. We got a lot to talk about, but, you know, I've been
wait. You got to tell them to watch us on YouTube first.
That's true. Guys, gals.
We on YouTube.
We on YouTube. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Just go to www.youtube.com/Dr. Nii Darko, and you will see this episode. For those who are listening and not watching, you can't tell, but I'm slumming right now. I'm in a hotel. I'm in an extended stay. I'm in the kitchen, hoping that the refrigerator sound ain't coming all the way to the microphone. Can you hear the refrigerator? Yeah, that happened to me. I remember, I think I was interviewing Dr. Dre. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was interviewing him and the refrigerator just kept going off in the freezer. And I was like, man, I hope people don't catch this. It didn't catch it though, but it's crazy, man. I'm just slumming back here.
Well, blink once if you need help. Okay.
Well, every time I look at you in the camera and you're in that studio, I'm like, dang, I miss those digs, man. It's something I'm really proud of because I did not think that the studio would start to come together this nicely. Everyone, it's really important for me, at least, to have ritual and systems, so to speak. And for me, I really like a place where I can walk into and then like attach my computer to it and just start recording. I don't like where I have to keep like reproducing the same environment, whether, you know, creating a podcasting studio in the kitchen or creating a podcasting studio in the dining room. I just like one place, pod, and get it over with.
So you wouldn't like a pop-up shop?
No.
A pop-up podcast.
No. Well, I mean, if everything was set up and you just needed me to walk in front of the microphone, then yeah, absolutely. So, but listen, let's jump into our first topic. So I've been releasing more and more stuff on Instagram with your help. You've been helping me really to kind of change the way in which we're putting stuff on Instagram, on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you don't know, check it out. We're being a little bit more creative with how we're doing things. But the most recent post was on this concept that I talked about 2 episodes ago, the expectation of wealth versus success. Mm-hmm. And just really briefly, I went to a wedding several weeks ago and it was in Bel Air. It was an amazing wedding. But the thing that really stuck to me was that everybody there, they were doing well, but there was this conversation, there was this air of wealth that I just never been around before. Right. And I've been around successful people and I've been around, I don't know if there's many people that I've been around that I can look at them and be like, yeah, that person's wealthy. But I know that, you know, when you're around doctors aren't wealthy, so to speak. Doctors are just, they're well off, so to speak.
And they're successful for the most part. Yeah.
And they're successful. You know, being in a household, for me, being raised in a house where, you know, success was not an option. Like that's it. I think that's different than what I experienced there. So I want to jump right into that because there have been a lot of people who've been writing to us on Instagram, commenting on the posts. What are your thoughts? Have you ever felt that before? Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I think maybe it might be in my head, but I want to know what you think about that.
No, I get it. Like, you know, when you talked about that the other couple of episodes ago, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I never really thought about, you know, success and wealth, like as two separate things, mutually exclusive things, right? Like you just think like, okay, well, if there is success, then, there's a very like high likelihood that wealth will follow. But wealth doesn't necessarily come from success, right? Like that they could be completely separate things. And I would say, even after that discussion, the first thing that I said with success and then yes, wealth will follow, that's not necessarily true in all households either, right? You're expected to be successful, but I don't know that, there's an expectation that you will be wealthy necessarily. I think my parents expected that I would be successful, but I don't think that my parents ever expected for me to be wealthy. And so they're probably still wishing that today, because so am I. But
well, I think for me, when I was thinking about it, I was on a plane flight home. I was like, okay, so is expectation of wealth like above expectation of wealthy? Or is it something that's in parallel? Are they even related?
Or
right?
You mean because expectation of success above expectation of wealthy, or?
No, is wealth above expectation of success?
Of success, right? Okay.
Like, is there tiers to this? I got the notion that, okay, these things can happen in parallel to each other, right? Like if you're born into wealth and you just maintain that, are you really successful? Yeah, but there's an expectation that you're carrying a family name or you're continuing the family business. You better stay wealthy, right? Otherwise, there's a lot of people that you're going to let down. But I think like in my household, it was like, okay, like you study, you go through and you get your education, you work really hard, and whatever field you want to go into, I want you to be very successful in that. Right. But when I was there, it was almost like, this person is in real estate and they're very wealthy. This person knows this person only because this person, the person in between who's making the connection of who they know is able to connect, so-and-so to another person who can make them wealthy, right? Like it's not transactional, but it almost is. Like I felt like everybody knew each other. There's love there, but also there's the same time of, there's love that equates to something that's going to make us, like seven figures.
Make us some quine.
Like 7 figures, maybe even 8 figures, right. That's thing that I don't know. Maybe I thought part of me was like, well, maybe I got the wrong feeling, but I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are. But based on the IG comments, people felt the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've never been around that before. I mean, you only got a glimpse of it. So like you said, you're like, well, this is kind of the feeling that you got. But, to grow up in that, I think, obviously we would get it much, much more. So it's just interesting to have a glimpse of that, because I don't think that many people, even when they are successful, ever get a glimpse of that. And we know that money opens doors to things that potentially, success does not, right? Success doesn't always open doors. But money opens doors. Money because everybody wants a piece of it. But not everybody. Also. Yeah, say again?
Access is huge also.
Yeah, access. Yeah. And I think that's what it is. I think money gives you access to things, right? Whether that's resources, whether that's more success, whether that's whatever it is. But I think wealth, i.e. money, does open more doors than success does. Yeah.
And does it make sense to chase that? To chase wanting to be wealthy?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what you want, right? Like, I mean, but it's the same thing with success, right? What should you chase, right? Like, kind of like we talked about the job opening versus the job opportunities, right? Like, is that the same thing? Like, is every job opening a job opportunity? Does it, does that equate to success every single time someone offers you a job? Will that equate to potentially becoming wealthy? Like, I think it all depends on what it is that you want in your life, right? And the thing is, I was thinking about this the other day. Are you taking steps towards what you want your future to look like, or are you just taking steps? And I think the answer to your question just basically is, what are you looking for? If you're looking for wealth, then chase it. You know what I mean? Like, chase that coin, chase that bag. You know what I mean? But if you're looking for success, which does not necessarily equate to wealth, which we know that there can be success without wealth, right? Some people might actually disagree with that, but I think that there can be success without wealth. Then chase that success. If it comes with wealth, then great.
Well, for the people who are going to be like, well, you could be wealthy with love, you could be wealthy with that. I'm talking about wealth of money, just to make this very clear.
Yeah. We're not talking about the. Yeah, we're not talking about.
I'm talking about the monetary. I'm talking about the money, the monetary amount. You know,
mm-hmm.
I think this is all fairly, really interesting because I did not expect that. That is something that I was not raised with, and you felt like you'll be comfortable with being successful, but not wealthy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are comfortable being successful. I think most successful people are comfortable being successful without being wealthy, because I don't think that most successful people are wealthy, right? Like I don't necessarily equate the two, but I don't think I've ever had that thought in my head of just the dichotomy of those two things.
Well, the other thing too is just being in California, just paying attention, you just see that there's money everywhere, right? It's not like you don't physically see money, but you see manifestations of money everywhere with buildings, expensive buildings. You see, movie posters, you see expensive cars in all parts of Los Angeles. You're just like, man, this is crazy. It just this abundance of money as well as expectation of money that is very different than, I think even the East Coast, right? Because outside of Manhattan and maybe outside of like Park Slope or something like that, really, if that, maybe. Where you get that physical, like, it's expensive to be here.
That reminder. Yeah.
That reminder that it's expensive to be here. But in Los Angeles, everywhere you are, it's like, yo, this place is money. And it just got me thinking, like, are we thinking small? Can we think bigger? Right. These are the things that I was just thinking. I was going through all of these things in my mind.
Right. Well, again, it just depends on what you're looking for. Now, if you want money and you don't have money, and you weren't thinking about getting all that much money, then yeah, you probably think it's small, considering your goal, right? Considering your goal. But if you are not necessarily, if your goal isn't to be wealthy, then no, you're probably not thinking small, because you're thinking about other goals that you might have. And if they lead to wealth, then great. But if they don't, then, you have reached your goal.
Yeah. Listen, everyone, I just want to put it out there because I think part of the show is you gaining a perspective into how me and Renee think, right? In growing up, where Renee grew up in East New York, whereas me, I grew up in Irvington. Like there's just a certain, I don't know, I feel like there's a certain commonality, Main Street with us, that I think we like to take along with us and let people know that, we're going through this and we're changing. Our mindset is changing. And, the way how we paid off our debt, where we were mentally then in 2014 to finishing it in 2017 is different. Where we were in 2017, even to this point, is really different than how we think now. Like we think way different then,
Yeah. It definitely has been a mindset shift for us over the years. I think that, having paid off the debt, like you said, now having gone into real estate and then having to reshape kind of what my image of debt is, right? Like before I was like, nope, no debt, which is why I got too low of a debt score or of a credit score to be on bad credit. Got bad credit. But now looking at real estate, realizing, oh, okay, this is what the credit score is for. Like now I understand why it would make sense to go into debt for something versus going into debt for other things, right? Because there are things that for me, I still would not go into debt for. Like I'm not going into debt for the nice skirt that I saw, at Macy's.
So this is what I wanted to get to. My friend, he's the groom, obviously. I remember him right before the wedding began. He was taking pictures and there was a photographer who was following him. And in the area where we had the what do you call that? The reception right before the actual wedding, there's a big sign that had his name on it. And it said expert witness or expert litigation, called this number, blah, 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 blah. And he stood in front of it and took a picture. And then he had these people who were moving him around, go here, go there. And then I also remember before I came to the wedding, he asked me that he's trying to start this product, obviously in the realm of dermatology, where, he comes up with the idea, he's going to send it over to a different country. They're going to work on the pharmaceuticals and so forth. And then he'll import it back and sell it. And it's like everything that he's doing, whatever it is, has to make him money. Right. I'm not, and
even on his wedding day,
even on his wedding day, and
but
everybody,
say I do. Give me 5 G's.
This is not a critique. This is just a summary, an observation of what I saw. I don't know what the right or wrong answer is. I'm just letting you know that that's what I saw, and I was like, wow. Even as a physician, because physicians, we think small.
Yeah, I think that's a notion that physicians don't really have, right? That we would make money with everything that we do, because we tend to be a very altruistic group, right? We tend to be that group who we want to just do things out of the goodness of our hearts. And that's a good thing. I absolutely think that that's a good thing. I still do, things out of the goodness of my heart to help patients, to help people. And I think that's a good thing. But I do think that there is a component of being able to monetize what we do that we don't necessarily take advantage of. Yeah. And a lot of other professions, a lot of other industries do. And so that your friend is doing it as a physician, I think that there's nothing wrong with that, even on his wedding day, because guess what? It's his wedding day. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So he can do whatever he wants. So if he feels like, look, we done paid $40,000 for these flowers and I need to make at least 10 of that back, then take them pictures, okay?
I think he spent more than that.
Send that product off.
I think he spent more than that on flowers, but listen, let's move on quickly to Fuji's. So the last episode or the episode before that, we were talking about the Fuji's. Listen, everyone, I was just listen. Oh my goodness, guys, on Instagram, the Fuji's, The Score is an amazing album. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is an amazing album. We are literally splitting hairs. All I am saying is that all that I'm saying is we're talking about like 1A versus 1B or 1C, right? The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, in my eyes, was a far better, was a better album than The Score. Yo, what's going on in these Instagram streets?
Yo, somebody asked me what trauma did I have in my life to make the comment that I made. What trauma? I'm like, dude, we talking about record albums. It's not that serious. Okay. So if you didn't peep that reel that Dr. Nii had on his Instagram about the Fugees, you need to go to his Instagram page, because apparently somebody took that very seriously. Very seriously. I don't know if he had money on, The Score. So I don't know if that was an investment for him, but he was like, "You're not going to talk about The Score like that. You're not going to talk about The Score like that."
Wow.
Hilarious.
I was like, all right, whatever. Anyway, so The Score is an amazing album. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is a better album. So, hey guys, like we love the feedback. We love the feedback. It's great. Continue to let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are on expectation of wealth versus success. Are we BSing? Are we bullshitting? Let us know what's the deal. What about thoughts on Fugees? Let us know about that. So listen, speaking of wealth, we are trying to build something that can create income for us outside of what we do within the hospital walls, and that's with real estate. So about less than a week ago, actually, we put in our first offer on this home in Houston, in H-Town, right? One of my favorite cities, huge city. And we are using Awning, which is this online portal, online technology that really helps busy professionals purchase property with the concept of this is going to be investment rental property.
Right.
And it kind of tries to do everything all at once on this portal. So we finally got to a point where we were able to secure a whole bunch of different houses, or not secure, but like look at a whole bunch of different houses. We went through, we did the deep dive on a couple of houses where we talked about the numbers. We looked at pictures. We looked at what the repair value would be after we put some renovations into it. We felt really comfortable about this one property and we finally made an offer.
Yep.
And just found out actually on Monday. Yeah, just found out on Monday. Survey says, right. Yeah, so it got rejected. I thought the process of putting in an offer wasn't bad. What were your thoughts on that?
No, it was pretty easy to put in the offer. So actually to put in the offer, we actually had to go on the awning website, and they ask you a series of questions, and you just literally answer all of the questions. You answer, how much you want to put in as the offer. You end up I think you put in also what your down payment is going to be, what your contingency is going to be, if you're going to, have an inspection, things like that. So that was actually pretty easy. But what we learned in the process of the offer was that there was something called an option fee. Remember?
Yeah. So basically, like in Pennsylvania, like if you put in an offer on a property, there's a contingency in the contract or your offer that says you can pull out if these conditions are met. And one of the conditions that we like is, look, if we inspect the house and they say it's roaches all over the place, ain't nothing you can do about it, we out and we don't lose any money. Right? You're going to have to put down some earnest money, but we're out. And then we get all of our money back.
Right. Within a specific period of time.
In the state of Texas, there's this thing called option where you actually have to purchase. You have to pay to get your money back. I'm like, wait, what kind of racket is this?
Yeah.
So Umberto had to explain it to me. And then I explained it to you.
Umberto's from Awning.
Umberto from Awning. He explained it to us. And it makes sense. But it is what it is. It's just basically you put up like $250 and you have the ability, the right now to say, you know what, we just don't like this property. We got cold feet. We want to get out.
Right.
I kind of see the point because you don't want to jump into an offer and then waste the time of the seller and then just to pull out. But also at the same time, it's like, if I put in an offer it gets accepted and I don't like the place because let's say we do
for a legitimate reason. Let's say there's termites.
Whatever it is, we don't like it. We lose $250.
Right.
And I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's my money. So that's one thing that we just got to think about. That's all.
Yeah.
This is not the same in every state. That's all.
Right. Exactly. So, that's something to think about, if you're thinking about, buying a real estate property in Houston, or in Texas in general, and, realize that this is not Awning's thing, right? This is the state of Texas specifically that has this, this policy regulation or whatever. So, I thought the process was really easy.
Well, let me say one thing I liked better of this is that you controlled everything and you got to change the dates on, how long can they think about the offer? How long will it take you, do you think, to get your house inspected? And then after the house gets inspected, it's like all of these things that I just remember in comparison to our experience in Pennsylvania, where you're talking to someone, your realtor about it. And remember, our realtor really wasn't an investing type of realtor. That was our first mistake. But I just remember like there was mistakes that were made through the process and so forth. So I like that you control it here. And then, at the end, you get an offer letter that you can read through and make sure that it jives with all of the options that you chose before.
Yeah. Yeah. That I think is what made the process the easiest, was the fact that you could basically put all of those things out, just say, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. And then once the offer letter actually came, all you had to do was just double check against what you already said. So you weren't looking at the offer letter like it was a brand new thing and that somebody had made it up for you. And now you had to kind of figure out, well, is this what I want? Is this not what I want? So for me, the process was definitely much more seamless.
Yeah. So we're not discouraged. We're going to go back to the portal. There's more homes that appeared in Awning's portal. And we're going to go after this. So listen, we're just kind of briefly talking about this stuff right now, guys, but eventually the Darko Real Estate Series Part 2 will be coming out. So hopefully by then we'll have a property that's already secured. So we're going to look at other properties. We'll be putting in multiple offers and we'll keep you all in the process to know what's going on. So let's shift into a new segment of the show. Okay. Ooh. So this is a new segment, but it's going to be our last segment. I'm going to call it the sign out, right? And the reason I want to call it the sign out is these are the things that when you are signing out, the person who's coming out, versus the person that's coming in. It's a conversation where you're talking about the most important, pertinent positives that you need to know for a patient. In this case, it's not actually clinically related, but the most important things that we want to share with you so that, you know, when you leave this show, maybe you can take action, maybe you can think about something, who knows? So let me start off.
And I'm a pimp y'all the next time I see you, because that's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do. So let's start off with something that I'm watching. So me and you watched The Harder They Fall, which is a different take on a Western. I can tell by your woo, you liked it.
Woo! I love that movie. The first 5 minutes, I remember I was grabbing you like, oh my God. Yo, I love that movie.
Renee liked it. It's on Netflix. It has a whole bunch of stars on it. It is a star-studded movie. It's on Netflix. It's amazing. Basically, it's just a different view of Westerns. And
if you haven't seen that movie, you have missed your whole entire life.
Yeah, so it's number 1 on Netflix right now. Squid Games is now down to like number 10, I think. So I think eventually this movie will, you know, kind of hit its peak and then come down. But it's great. It's really good. And it's like a typical Western, but it's just like a new age version of it. And it starts off with a bang, which most Westerns do. Start off with a bang. But what I liked about it is that like it starts off with a bang and the pace of the story just continues. Ugh. You know, and there's no dull moments whatsoever.
None. Not one dull moment. Not one. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time with this movie. It's so entertaining. The actors are so great. The story is tight. There is not anything in that story that I'm like, well, now why they do that? It's so tight. It's like traditional Western, which that's one thing people don't know about me, actually, that I do like Westerns. But it is traditional Western meets contemporary, like just, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, it was good. The characters were all interesting. The pace was excellent. I loved it. It left me wanting more, even at the end. And there's a huge twist at the end. And it had me wanting more. So I would recommend that to anybody right now who's interested in Westerns, who's interested in a different take. And, you know, I just, for me, you know, the more people are involved in conversations, the more diverse cast we use, I think you just get better stories. And there's no doubt, like this story is phenomenal.
Amazing.
Low-key, one thing that most people don't know, I know I told you about it, is the director of the film is actually Seal's brother.
Oh, yeah. Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on. Okay.
You ready?
That's all you getting.
Well, that's all we want. We want less.
That ain't funny.
And then the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is I'm still finishing Austin Kleon's book. It's called Show Your Work. It's really a great book. Something that for me has changed how I interact with you guys, how I interact on social media. And it's more of a sharing type of book and letting you know the way how you develop authority on the internet, or the way how you develop community really is related to how much you are sharing on the internet. And you don't have to share Picassos. You can share like your trash, you know, whatever you're creating, and then start to kind of develop being an expert in learning there. So it's a book that
I actually plan on sharing more of my rapping skills on the show since okay. But I'm showing my work. Okay. No. My name's Dr. Renee. Okay.
So everyone, make sure you check out that book, Austin Kleon's book, Show Your Work. Link will be in the show notes. So listen, we made it to the end. So I'm hoping that at the end of our shows, we'll have more stuff to put on the sign out. But look, we got to keep it tight. We got a schedule that we got to keep up with. But listen, guys, the next episode is going to be Dr. Stephen Bradley. He's going to be episodes 251 and 252. We're actually splitting his episode into two. He's a really popular podcaster. He hosts the Black Doctors podcast, and we're going to be talking about religion. We're going to be talking about music, military, and how it helped him kick imposter syndrome. No doubt, I think you guys are all going to enjoy episodes 251 and 252. Listen, make sure you show love to our sponsors. go to the homepage of the website or check out the show notes. These are people that we rock with. These are companies that I think will actually take whatever you do to the next level. And Dr. Renee, you want to leave them with anything?
Yeah, don't forget, guys, you can text Dr. Nii to join his text community. Make sure that you go to the show notes and text the word podcast. Okay, make sure you text the word podcast. Let me see if I can't get that number for y'all, actually.
Tell them to read the show notes. No. Tell them to read the show notes. They ain't going to write it down.
Well, they're going to write it down. But what about the people on YouTube?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay, people on YouTube, we giving you love. The number is 833-230-2860. Maybe we'll come up with a jingle. Ooh, that's going to be my next assignment. I'll come up with a jingle, right? So
let these people go, please. Hey, guys, it's time to go, guys. We will check you guys on the next episode, guys. Listen, this show is about making sure and giving you examples of how you can follow your dreams as doctors. You have the keys to success and also maybe even keys to being wealthy. We're going to catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.